Hello, headphone users.
Welcome to Smash Writing. Justin doesn't like to do introductions, but you know I'm Paul, and you know that's
Justin.
Justin.
I don't like doing introductions. You just complain all the time.
Today, we are talking about would be the first classical monster.
I think you probably counted that. Nosferatu came first, I believe. But Bela Lugosi's Dracula really set the stage and got the ball rolling from there. We're talking Dracula 1939.
31.
31? I thought it was 39.
Third.
I should have wrote that down.
Yeah, it was 1931. Of course, you know, a fun-loving black and white movie. Of course, this actually did kick off Universal's monster classic movies.
1931.
Yeah, 1931. You heard it here. 1931.
Yeah, well, smarter people probably knew that.
Yeah. Justin said 1939. I had to correct him. I think, though, to be honest with you, this is probably this is the number one oldest film I watched. And I do enjoy black and white films, but this is definitely the oldest one.
Well, I watched Nosferatu's.
Next new idea we're coming up with is going to be called the silent film era.
No, we won't be. Like, I get the love for Nosferatu, but no.
So, but we are talking about Dracula. This movie was roughly about 75 minutes long. Obviously all black and white. So go and talk about the plot, because the plot was a thin one. Like, they're really...
Yeah, like, they really didn't mess around. It just went... I kind of dug it out. It just get to the point, you know?
Like, we spent a couple weeks trying to figure out how to review this film, because...
Well, it's not like his big brain, or we just weren't watching.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't... Well, I watched half. He watched it and didn't understand.
Yeah, so I had to go back and rewatch it. And then, here's the crazy thing was, I bought it on Amazon.
Yeah.
And because I did search Peacock at the time when we first came up with this idea, and I could not find it. Then, you know, my feed pops up that Dracula would be coming to Peacock in October. I'm like, I want my $3.99 back.
You really got ripped off there, didn't you?
Yeah, I really did. So then I rewatched it, and yeah, the plot was pretty basic. He just...
Well, the movie opens up with Renfield heading to Transylvania and
Yes.
Castle Dracula. And the town starts a warning. I'm like, yeah, don't go.
Yeah,
Moron.
and he
Very
that's...
I'll never forget to turn off. Oh, just about to go off again. But Renfield, he's going. He doesn't believe in superstitions and stuff
And
like that.
he's on... This is business for him, and he doesn't care. Because one, like Justin said, he doesn't believe in any ghost stories or anything like that. So him and, you know, though he doesn't find it weird that Dracula wants to meet at midnight.
No, well, okay, I mean,
I mean,
that's how it's done, you know. I mean, it's better to meet me at midnight than noon.
for you, yeah, that is true. But I would still find it weird. So
I felt getting in the car today. It was like 10:30 in the morning. But yeah, what really should like set him off though was like his coach driver turned into a bat.
yeah.
But he finally gets to Count Dracula and he meets Dracula and they set up. You find out it's a real estate deal. He's buying a castle in England,
Carfax.
the Carfax Abbey.
Yeah.
And Renfield, him and Renfield are going to be leaving by boat the next day. You get a bit of a distracted Dracula when he cuts himself with the paper cut.
He got. He's like, like, oh, I'm fine. It's just a little blood, and Dracula's just like, blood.
And he knocks him out unconscious with the hypnotic drugging kind of deal. And you see the brides come out for a minute.
The wives of Dracula. I think that's the only scene that they're really.
They are the only scene they're in there. Don't come back. And he turns Renfield into his slave kind of deal. There's a word for it. I can't remember what it's called.
It's like some type of hypnotized.
Well, not really at that point. He's just out of his gourd. He's no longer really hypnotized. And everyone on the boat dies.
Because Dracula basically goes on a
feeding tree, I
feeding
guess.
spree, yeah.
Renfield gets collared for it because he is bonkers at this point.
Yeah, his eyes, like they did, his reaction to his eyes and like his facial expressions. And Redford was played by Dwight Fry. His face, like he went from this. It almost seemed like it was two different people to the normal and the carriage ride Redfield to a
bonked out.
Like he looked almost completely different. Did not look like the same person because of the way he was reacting. But yeah, he looked very crazed. So they sent him to
the crazy house,
which was like a nice house though.
Oh yeah,
it was,
they take care of their people in other countries. What do you want?
Yeah,
we're Americans. We're not used to that shit.
No. We're used to the dungeons.
That's today's standard, you know? But, you know, when Dracula gets there, he automatically starts feeding, and then he sets his eyes on Mina.
Yep.
And he turns her into a growing, she'll become a vampire. Draws the attention of Harker and, most importantly, Van Helsing.
Yes.
Who's not fooled at all. He knows they're dealing with a vampire from a bat.
He catches on instantly that something's not right. That the bites, the teeth markings. He realizes what goes on as fast as everybody. Then he starts to
close in on, and automatically closes in on Dracula when he notices Dracula doesn't have a reflection.
Yep, and this point, Dracula then catches on that Van Helsing now knows.
Oh yeah, Dracula doesn't pull back. He knows he's been busted.
Yeah, and he doesn't care that he's busted because he still just presents himself.
Yeah. He just wants Mina, and it becomes a game of like a race against time between him and Van Helsing, because Van Helsing's like, if she dies by in the day, she won't become one of you, and Dracula's like, if she dies by night, she's one of mine. Yeah,
so you got the perfect combination of day versus night, dark versus light.
Renfield, he escapes at one point, and at the same time, Dracula makes off with Mina. But because Renfield escaping, they're able to follow Renfield back.
Now there was a good scene where you see Renfield somewhat return to his normal state to warn Van Helsing.
Yeah.
That was that caught me off guard because once he was, controlled, he stayed in that control set where he went bonkers and all of that. But then there was that clipping where, they bring him into the office there with Van Helsing, and he tells him, he's like, this is what this guy is going to do. Like, he comes out of that crazed state, almost returns to his normal self until Dracula shows up, and he's like, no, master, I didn't snitch on you or anything, something like that. But he really did.
No, it's kind of like he was warning them that something was coming, but he wasn't coming out and saying Dracula.
That is true.
But it comes down to, they follow Renfield back, and Dracula realizes that Renfield kind of led them here, and he takes out Renfield. Then he's about to kill Mina, but the sun comes up, so Dracula retreats to his coffin, and that allows Van Helsing to spike him and save Mina. And that's the end.
Really? I mean, it really is the ending of the film. I was probably expecting a little bit more climactic ending. Just to, him literally going into coffin and like, oh, I'm just stabbing you. And
I was like, I don't mean to bash the old movie or anything, but it's like, I'm glad some of these tropes have gone away.
Yeah.
Because, the Dracula, your enemies are beating at the door kind of deal. And what do? You went to bed.
Hey guys,
time out. It's bedtime.
It's bedtime. Can we do this around 7, 8 o'clock, 8, 9 o'clock maybe tonight? Let's finish this. And that's the thing. Knowing that.
And that's I try to go back to 31. Don't think about the new stuff.
Yeah.
Just try to think about this in terms of 31. But at the same time, it's like he just went to bed. That was it.
Yeah. Doing these era type pieces where films were different from obviously like 100 years ago to now, whatever, 90 years ago, everything like that. But I'm like, can we throw a punch? Can Dracula
it is like 90. It has been 100 or 90 years, hasn't it? So 31.
It has been 90 years, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, because this is 2021, that's 30, so yeah, 90 years. So, you're right, you do gotta think about it differently, but I'm just, still, you're building, it felt like the film was building Dracula up to give me a punch. Like, I know he pushes Redfield down the steps or something like that.
Well, no, they didn't show him push him down the steps. They showed him grab him, and then cut away, and then they showed him tumbling down.
Right. I still...
Did they show him actually biting anyone, or were they all cut back?
They were all cut back. They, soon as... And that's where, while I was watching, I was like, am I missing a scene, or did they, quote-unquote, edit a scene out? Because, it would just black out, and then it would almost do a time jump. And, going back to Redfield...
I don't want to bash it for not showing any of the bites, because that would have been way too much for the 1931 audience to deal with. Compared to what we see now, like, cool.
Right. I mean, I don't know. I just thought, like I said, that the finish was kind of dull. And...
Well, yeah, I mean... he went to bed. Again, I beat that horse, but he really did just
when he went to sleep for the final time, because it looked like his castle back in Transylvania, was it a different... Was it supposed to be different?
No, it was the Carfax Abbey still. It was just his stuff in the basement from Transylvania.
Oh, no, once again, another poor design because they...
Well, no, he made... Well, they made the... Dracula made the point at the theater to say he's not going to do repairs because it reminds him of his castle back home.
Oh, that's true. That is true.
So, yeah, I'm giving credit.
Good job. Look at you, Justin, giving...
They gave you, as an audience member, a reason to not think you're in the same place because Dracula made a point of saying it's like he's back home.
And that was the escape route of not having a different set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I applaud you for doing things.
Another great scene that stood out, you seen Dracula being caught off guard by Van Helsing is when he was trying to hypnotize him as well.
Yeah, and Van Helsing only went under for a second.
Yeah, he did a nudge almost. Yeah. It was like, that's not going to work on me. That's for the weak-minded. And Van Helsing, even though these movies really wasn't much of a script or a clever plot, they still at least did something good in my eyes, where they made Van Helsing something like he was not. He was going to be Dracula's equal.
Yeah.
And going up against him, it was not going to be anybody else. It was not going to be.
He was a worthy foe against Dracula.
Yeah, and I mean, who would have thought all Van Helsing really had to do was stay up a couple extra minutes and.
Yeah, don't go to bed. Van didn't go to bed, so you're fine.
Like I said, you gotta put your mindset in the 1931 era, and that's what I was
trying. Try not to imagine it don't compare it to the stuff today. Stuff today has different standards and practices compared to what they had in 31.
Better technology.
Better technology. I'm not gonna this bats look horrendous. No, that's what they had to work with.
Yeah, you wasn't gonna have a computer animated bat that looked so real in a 1931 film. No,
we had animatronic bats and
you literally had puppets and strings.
I did like the pacing, just.
Yeah, it was.
And this movie didn't really have much to draw on because Nosferatu was really it. Dracula had been in plays and theaters. That's where Bela got his start with Dracula, was in the theater, and they didn't have a threshold. They had to blaze their own path. So this movie's legacy definitely stands.
Yeah.
You can go back and watch it and appreciate it for what it is.
Now, I looked up the budget. I know this was probably $1931, not anything inflation, but it cost Universal almost $1 million to do this film. Like, that was an insane amount of money, and obviously graphics wasn't a big deal, but I mean, you probably had to pay the actors and everything like that. But I thought that was a very high number.
Yeah.
The quality, like I said,
they got Bella on the steal because he wanted to play Dracula so much he took him bargain.
There you go.
Well,
the graphics were the actors were, you know, like I said, give it up for Dwight Fry.
Yeah, Dwight. He was acting on a whole other level as Renfield.
I mean,
there's a whole other level.
You've seen two sides of Renfield.
Sane Renfield and bonkers Renfield.
And Dwight did such a good job of separating them and almost making them their own characters. The one thing that doesn't change through time...
That evil laugh could have been cut back a little bit, though, because he went a little too far. Like, calm it down a little bit, man. Settle down.
Settle. The one thing that doesn't change over cinema, really, is acting abilities and almost the writing. Good writing never really changes.
No, it's good writing changes all the time.
Well, acting doesn't.
No, you do need good acting to pull out anything, or else. I can just think about some of the lines. If it was bad actors, what is this line?
Yeah, Dwight was on par. Edward
Van Sloan as Van Helsing was a very good choice. He did very good.
Yeah, he sold the idea that, you know, he wasn't this bulky young stud that was going to fist fight you. He was going to find other ways to beat you. He's an older...
mind over matter, and he uses his intelligence to take down to figure out, assess the situation, and go from there.
Then you got, you know, Bela himself. That was very, you know, like, believable Dracula.
Yeah. His ability to blend in wasn't the best. Like, he didn't blend in at all.
Yeah.
Like, you read him like, oh, there's something wrong with this dude. But at the same time, Bela as Dracula was a very good Dracula. I did put him on my top 5, I believe, for good reasons, because he has that look and menace about him. And when he was just Dracula the vampire, he was really good.
Yeah. So, overall, how do you feel about this film?
It is a classic. Would I suggest people to check it out? Maybe, if you're really into like black and whites and you really want to see where all these movies started from, then go ahead. But maybe not that high up on it. My bar for these movies is Creature of the Black Lagoon, which I'm sure we'll get to at some point.
Yeah.
I don't think Dracula hits Creature of the Black Lagoon. At least not for me.
So here's where you gotta, you know, rate it using modern day standards.
Well, I wouldn't rate this by modern day standards.
Okay, rate it.
I don't know. I don't want to give it a rating. Not really.
Keep it a bit good, bad, horrible.
Good.
Okay.
It's good. Like, I don't want to give this like an official grade because I think it's just too hard to. You can't grade it by today's standards. It wouldn't feel right dating it by 31 standard because I'd have to watch more 31 movies to compare it to.
Which in all in due time.
I love it.
I would have to give it a good type of rating, basic rating. You know, obviously, yeah, this is the oldest film I ever watched. I do enjoy black and white films, but this is definitely the oldest one, and it's something I always wanted to watch. The acting was on point. I don't think you can take away anything from the acting that was on this film. Even the graphics, like, you knew they were different scenes and they were cutaway scenes and everything like that. But once again, I look back, like, they didn't have everything we have today to review it, to make a film. And they did.
Okay, I turned this off. I turned the sound off. You saw me turn the sound off. You saw me. It's on video.
There. Watch when I edit this video. That's not. It'll be some just creepy stuff. But it was a good film. I think if you can handle older films, this is definitely a must watch. We are literally talking about a film that's 90 years old, and it was able.
If you really look at horror genres and vampires, definitely give this a watch. Like, see the roots and see how far it's grown.
Yeah, this is where everything started from, and it was a good film. I did enjoy watching it, and I'll probably watch it again down the road.
You're dead and buried.
Again, you guys saw me turn it on.
Okay, until next time.
Bye-bye!